Alright. I want to do like a game list slash kind of update. Right now I'm on the last Dark Souls. So Dark Souls 3, after completing everything else. So once I finish that, which is probably going to take like a week or two, I'll eventually make a video on that about getting the trophies and all that. So that's what that is. And then after that, it's gonna be, I'm gonna play some other games and then do something with that. Probably either gonna be like Mario or Zelda or Metroid. Probably Metroid. Gets the plan. I know I don't stream anymore or whatnot, but don't really have the time for that. But anyways, now for the real thing. We gonna rank game consoles. Well, most of them. We're gonna exclude the older ones, like Atari and these up here, because I didn't ever play them growing up. So, ooh. Can we remove them? No. Okay. Let's start off with the Nintendo. It's a classic. Now we're ranking them. Like, what's the best consoles in my opinion? The high A. I have a lot of fond memories. My first time playing was at a buddy's house. Go over there a lot and we would play Nintendo. We'd play Zelda 1, 2. I'm trying to think what else. Maniac Mansion. Mario. Some other games I can't remember. Like this night game. It's like a platformer night game. But overall it's solid. I didn't actually get one until 9 or 10. No, I didn't get one until like middle school, because my first console was the SNES, so. But I did play it a lot. There was many times to play it. I guess we do Game Boy. Game Boy's a solid B. I remember getting mine. So I had the original, the fat brick, which they do have color, which I'm gonna lump them together. Color would probably be a little bit higher, but I got the fat brick. I remember I went to a place called Season Games, or no, not Season Games. I went to Goodwill. This was like right out of elementary, and they were selling one for like, I think it was $15. So I got that, and it came with like 2 or 3 games. I want to say it was Metroid 2, Pokemon Blue, and Link's Awakening DX. And then, of course, Game Boy Color came out, and I got that. I remember that was the one I got at Season Games. And I think I got Crystal with it. That was the game I got with it. But they were solid. I see they have Sega, but did they have... Okay, yeah, no. So I never played the Sega Master System, but I did play Genesis. It's a C. I was more of a Nintendo fan growing up, and I don't know, something about Sega always was different. I think it was the sound. The sound was always off. But it's not bad. I liked Sonic, Alter Beast. I think what else? Aladdin. Most of my Sega playing was at godparents' house because their son had a Sega with a box of games. So that was most of my playing of Sega. They did have this one. They didn't have the Gen 2. They had the first one with the volume button and everything. I didn't really play on the second gen of it. Like I played on it, but not really. So I played the one with the volume control with the headphone slot. But what would be next? Next would be, man, there's a lot. I did do Sega CD for a bit. I did play that, which I like a little bit more than the Genesis because the games were a lot different. I did play Game Gear. It was great. It was like playing Sega on the go, but that thing ate batteries. I can't remember where I played it, but I just remember going on trips and somebody I knew had it and I didn't really want to play it, so I ended up playing it. So far, no. The Game Boy was better than that. I think next would be N64, which is a easy S tier. Game's great, or console's great. All the games are pretty solid. I remember getting mine, so that was the first console I bought. Oh wait, no. There's the SNES, but I remember it's the first console I bought. Bought that with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Or no, it was Ocarina of Time and Mario 64. And then Majora's Mask came out, and I couldn't get it for the longest time. I just remember playing it at friends' houses and never getting the chance to actually buy it. I don't think I got that toward the end of N64 lifespan. But no, so many fond memories. Mario Party, GoldenEye, Goemon, which is one of my favorite games. It keeps changing between slot 1 and slot 2 of my favorite games. My top favorite. But no, solid console. Great library. Still holds up. I'm actually, I got a replacement shell, and it's a transparent purple color. And that's coming next week, so that'll be fun to swap over, because I have it in 64 still. But overall, yeah, no, easy top tier. Same with, well, I would say Super Nintendo's A tier, like above regular Nintendo. A lot of good games. Got that for Christmas. My mom bought the Donkey Kong bundle, so I remember the box has Donkey Kong on it, and so yeah, it was really fun to get Christmas with Donkey Kong. And then she got Super Star Wars, because that's when I first got into Star Wars. No, so many good games. Played it for days. There is a difference between the two. I remember the Super Nintendo, I didn't really see it as a console. It was more just something to play. Whereas 64 was more, I took care of it because I bought it and it was like, it meant more, because it was like my money kind of thing. It wasn't like the SNES where my mom just like, here you go. It was Christmas, I believe. It was either Christmas or birthday, but yeah, she got me that. Which is funny because I think I ended up trading the SNES to get the 64. So I traded that, and I think I had like 40 games for it. I had a lot of games for it, like Lufia 2, and then Star Fox. I had all 3 of the Star Wars, Super Star Wars games. I had Final Fantasy 3, which is 6 for it. I had a lot of games for it, like Man, I wish I didn't do that. Yeah, Super Mario World, which that came way later for uh, the SNES, like, because I got Donkey Kong first. Never had 2 and 3, but I always played 2 and 3. I like at friends' houses, but I never had actual 2 or 3. I only had the first one. But no, it's a great console. I have played on a Virtual Boy. I actually have. I wouldn't rank it D, but it'd be like a low C. I played it like 3 times, and I just remembered it was fun for like the small library I had, but it was a pain to play because I didn't play it on a table, so I laid on the floor, and then it was sitting on the floor, and my neck was like diagonally to it. But I have played one and seen it in person. Like, it was neat, but I would never buy it. And then Game Boy Advance, that is A tier. I'd say it's in between those two. That's an easy A. I remember, I'm trying to think. I was with my mom, and I forget what we were doing, but we stopped by a Fred Meyer's, and then I was told to wait in the car. And then like an hour went by. Which is, a terrible thing to have a kid sit there in the car for an hour, but, it's whatever. I remember she comes back out, and she hands me a bag full of stuff in it, and I remember opening it up, and it was actually purple too. It was a purple Game Boy Advance, and it had 2 Towers, which is a really fun game. I think it's underrated. It was 2 Towers, Lufia 2, Pokemon Fire Red, Link to the Past, and then there was like 3 or 4 other games. So I remember just seeing it going, "Oh, new stuff!" And I played so much on that. I had so many games. There was all the Final Fantasy that were ported. No, that thing was great. I remember I took it everywhere. Did battles with friends on Pokemon. We did the 4 Swords on there. And then later on with GameCube, we used the SP, but same thing. So I remember I got that, and then I think a couple years later I got the SP. And that's when I got Legacy of Goku 1 and 2 and Boo's Fury, which we'll just put this. This is actually going to be higher, but man, did the Game Boy Advance have so many good games. They had a lot of poopy games too. But all around, it's a pretty solid choice. I was late in the PlayStation 2, so let's see. I remember I had both of the PlayStation 1s, but my first one was this. And I'm just gonna rank both, put them right there. Loved them. I remember those were another console I bought myself, because after the N64 I ended up getting consoles for myself, because I don't know why. Just ended up, it just happened. I would do work for grandparents. Like my grandpa would always want me to work in the backyard and stuff. And of course birthday money and etc. Never new. Most of these consoles I've never had new. I think the only new ones I've ever had was the GBA, both versions, and then the SNES and the Game Boy. No, I bought the Game Boy Color use. Yeah, so I never had a new console at this point besides those ones. But yes, got into Sony late. Was a more Nintendo fanboy, but loved it. I wouldn't say I think I loved the 64 more than the PS1 when it was out. even though the library was better on PS1. I didn't really get into PlayStation till PS2. That was like way later too. But no, overall, solid console. I got the GameCube for one Christmas, and that's an easy S tier. But I remember I went to a buddy, and he was very happy and excited, and I'm like, oh, why? And then he showed me, and he was playing, maybe I remember this pretty good, but he was playing Mario Party 4, and it was him, his mom, I think, or him and his sister, but I remember they're playing, and I know it was just a visit, it wasn't like I was staying the night thing, so I just kind of sat there and watched, and I was like very impressed, and that was my first impression of the GameCube. And then I remember, I think this was like 3 or 4 months before I even got it, but I remember wanting one, but never really told my mom. And then one Christmas, I'm at my grandparents' and she showed up with a box in a bag and pulled it out, and it was the GameCube, and I remember it came with Sunshine and Metroid Prime, and I just played that for like 3 days straight. And then of course throughout its lifespan I got a bunch of games. Solid console for being a kind of a flop, but oh yeah, no, many memories with both. PS2 I never owned until high school. I think I bought one off of a buddy for like $50. But I remember I used to go over to a buddy's house, and his parents loved video games, and so they were a big fan of Final Fantasy. So during the PS1 they had all the Final Fantasies, and they got a PS2 just for Final Fantasy. Well, they got Final Fantasy, and then they got GTA. So I just remember I'd always go over there, and me and Buddy would always take turns on GTA, seeing who can cut the most buy-ins and whatnot. But for the most part, I didn't experience this till late, because I still had the GameCube at the time, and when I got this, it was to just play more Resident Evil, because a lot of it wasn't on the GameCube. But easy S tier, because as I got older, I played more PS2 and realized this is a great console. But again, never bought new, always had it used. But I found out growing up, most consoles were just used, and then as I became an adult, I ended up just buying my own consoles. So that's when I got, new ones, which you'll see when the original Xbox I didn't own back in the day. If I can find it here, hold on. There it is. But it is a solid S. I remember going over to a buddy who, this was high school, who had one, and we'd always play Morrowind. Morrowind was really big for high school. I just remember every friend had it. And the first experience was, his name was David, but he was the first one that we would just stay up real late, play Morrowind. We didn't play anything else because he only really had like 2 games. He had Morrowind and Halo, and he never wanted to play Halo, so we ended up just doing Morrowind. But we always had so much fun, and we always would stop by the guy who falls out of the sky. But and a great library, online play was great, and then everybody always played Morrowind. It was weird. Like, I remember there was times where we had like 8 to 10 friends just hanging around in a living room, and we were all just, one of us played Morrowind while all of us just watched. It was weird because I remember it was known for Halo mostly, Halo and Ninja Gaiden, but no, everyone I knew, they always wanted Morrowind. So, let's see here. Dreamcast. I had one, but it didn't have very many games. But for what I had, it was fun. I'd say it's better than the Game Gear. Yeah. I remember. What was it? Fighting Force 1 and 2. Code Veronica. I'm trying to think of all the other ones. I didn't really play much, even though I had one. Like, I played it more now than I did back then, because now it's like, oh, there's so many great games for it. But it was hard to get games for. And I remember mine I bought off of a friend, because he never played it, and I got his collection out of it. But solid console. It was the last Sega console, so. What would be next? Let's see. I haven't played any of these. Oh, that's a Saturn, right? Okay. Yeah. I played Saturn a few times, never owned it. But it's like, it's okay. One of my favorite games that started on that, and that was Lunar 1 and 2. They were on Saturn. They were on Saturn and CD, but I didn't really experience them until PlayStation. But I remember a lot of fighting games. So, oh, and then this one, I have had this, the slim model of the PS2. I still think the fat one's better because you could do more with it. As in terms for modding. Modding a slim is kind of annoying because you're very limited. With the fat one, you can put a hard drive in, but it's good. It's good. It's cheap. I've seen Game Boy Pockets, never played them. Ah, the DS. DS is a high A. I would say, yeah, right about, yeah, I'd say right about year. I remember how I got mine. I was at my godparents, and her kid stole all my music. So I had like a big binder full of CDs, and I remember they got stolen at our house, and I was like, oh, that sucks. And then she's like, oh, how many CDs did you have? And I was like, I had like 300 CDs. And I was naming off. I'm like Ozzy Osbourne, Mudvayne, Tool, System of a Down. Like, I had like all their albums and stuff. And I remember she felt so bad. She's like, here's $300. Get something nice with it to make up for it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I remember I went to Fred Meyer's, and the DS has been out. It was been out for a while. Oh, I'm thinking of the other one. Hold on, no. That one was for the DS Lite. That's right. My bad. That's for the DS Lite. But anyways, they're basically the same, but that was for the DS Lite, and I ended up buying that with Final Fantasy 3. And the actual DS, now I remember it. I went to Toys R Us. Can't remember how I got the money. So I remember I paid for it. I remember standing at Toys R Us, waiting in line, and I went in. And it was like during launch too, because I had the big brick one. And I remember going into Toys R Us. This was early too. It was like 9 or 10 in the morning. And I went in because I remember there was a line and they only let a certain amount of people in. And I was the second to last to buy one. And I remember I picked up the DS with Mario. What was it? Mario 64 DS. And I got one other game. I couldn't remember the other game. I was very excited for the Super Mario 64 DS one because it was a remake, or yeah, remastered remake or whatever it was. And yeah, I played it. So I picked it up, got in the car. We were going home, and I remember I was playing it in the car, and then I just played it for a long time. But oh no, it was Field of Magic. That was the other game, which is another hidden gem. But yeah, and then like I said, so the DS Lite, that was from Godparents, which I ended up getting my music back because she found it in his room, and she was like, "Oh, I'm very sorry. This should have never happened." And so she just told me call it an early birthday or a late early birthday and Christmas gift throughout the next years. And I was like, that's fine. But yeah, DS, they're really great. I've seen these, never actually played one. So, but again, it's just a DS. Never played the DSi, but I've seen them. They're okay. Nintendo Wii. That's a toughie. So I never got the Wii until after the Wii was not really important. Like, it was still in its lifespan, but never really got it until later. And then I just modded it because the Wii was perfect for modding. So modding wise, I loved it. Actually playing it, I don't remember much. I remember it's okay. I wasn't really a big fan of the motion. I gave it a solid B. My biggest issue was when Twilight Princess came out. I ended up getting the Wii version on accident instead of the GameCube one, so I could never play it. And then I eventually got the GameCube one. But yeah, the Wii's fine. If you're modding it, best console to mod. So much stuff that you can do on it. But solid library. I was late to the Wii's lifespan. I've seen these, and these are by far worse than the Wii. It's okay. They take out a lot of things that the Wii had. No GameCube controller support, no backwards compatibility. It was worse. PS3, probably a C. Like a middle in a C. I never got one. I've always seen it. Never saw the appeal of it. I was a 360 person. And if I remember it, the PS3 library wasn't even that great. The only reason I ever wanted one was the backwards compatibility, and that was the fat versions. I hated the newer models, like these. This one was not as bad, but it's still not the... Oops. It wasn't this. And then the top one was just garbage. I remember I got one, I think like 4 years ago, and I was like, you can't do anything with this. Now 360 on the other hand, where is it? Oh, there it is. Easy S tier. So many great games. Fable, Halo, Oblivion, and then of course Skyrim. I mean, all these were on PS3, but I remember they ran better on Xbox. Borderlands 1, 2. But yeah, no. Xbox was great. The 360. And then the Gen 2 was also really good. I think I'd prefer the original over Gen 2, and then you had this one, which is also poopy. That one's poopy. Now, on the reverse, PSP. PSP was high up there. I would say Yeah, it's better than the DS. I had so much fun on my PSP. And again, most of these were all still used. I never got them new. But I remember my first PSP I ruined because I tried to mod it, and it was when the the battery pack thing, where you had to open up the battery pack and cut a thing off of it, and you had a chance to go wrong, and then it just makes a big puff packet. But I remember at GameStop I got one, and then the battery thing happened, and they gave me a new battery, but they knew what I was doing. And now it's just easy to mod because it's all software. It's not, hardware. But game library was great. I think I played Untold Legends 1 and 2 a lot. Third Birthday, which is Parasite Eve game. I'm trying to think what else did I play on there. Crisis Core. Lunar had a reimagining. Yeah, PSP was solid. And you get to watch movies on it. That was like one of the selling points. Now we get into the Wii U. A lot of people love or hate this console. Easy S tier. Easy. There was so much potential. This one I bought brand new. It was like 2 or 3 months after it came out. And holy, did I love it. I remember what was it? I got it when Hyrule Warriors came out. That was one of the big ones. Wind Waker HD was amazing. Twilight Princess HD was great. A lot of the first party titles were great. And then you had the Virtual Console all on there. It's so underrated, and I would say it's probably the better one to mod than the Wii, because you have the HDMI output instead of the VGA RGB. You can play on the gamepad without the TV. It's just great. There was so much potential, but the way they marketed and all that, it didn't do so well. I remember actually when Breath of the Wild came out, a lot of people got it on the Switch. I had it pre-ordered on the Wii U, and I played it on the Wii U, and it was fine. It was fine. Yeah. And now we're getting into I'd say Xbox One was an A. It was good, but it wasn't as good as like 360. It sucked at first with the Kinect and everything that had to be with it, but it's a very tied up. It was between Xbox One and where is it? Because I got both brand new. Never had the fat one. I had this one. And then I've also had where's the Pro? Yeah. They're all about the same. I remember I played Sony more, because games just ran better. But Xbox also had a decent library. But it wasn't as good as like the 360. But never had a 1X. But I would say it's better than the Xbox One. I played on them, just never had it. Alright, now we're getting the 3DSs. Alright, so never had the 3DS. But it's good. I went into it when it was a 3DS XL. Easily A tier. There were so many good games. And then this sucked. 2DS XL. Is that the new one? Yeah, it's the new one with the C-Stick. Is technically, I think, better than the 3DS XL. and it's technically better than the new 3DS XL because I didn't care about the 3D part. Like, yeah, it was cool, but overall, this was my more favorite one. And then, of course, never had the small version. I always bought the XLs because I wanted a bigger screen. Let's see. Oh, and then the 1S. I've had a 1S. It was okay. It was better than the original Xbox. Like this one is a pain to run. Like if you buy one now, it's so slow. The 1S is a slight better version. Oh, that's the original PlayStation 4. We'll just put it right here. Alright, now the Switch. I didn't get a Switch till late. But it's an A. It was good. It was good for what it was. Don't really have much to say about it. It's a Switch. Series S, I've owned one of these, and they're okay. Again, they're just on par with the rest. Now, if I had to choose between this or the Series S, I would get the Series X because it's better. But on that note, I never had a Series X, and nor do I want to, because at that point it's just a computer. At that point. Never had a Vita. Heard great things. Never had it. I've had an OLED, and I do like the OLED more than the Switch. But not by much. A PS5. I'd say this is the easy S tier. Yeah, easy S tier. One, it's a great Blu-ray player. It's a nice, starter off. Sony still makes a lot of good games. And then just never had an issue. I don't think, did they have the digital? No, this was like 2022, so I would put the digital on there higher. Like I'd put it above this. And then you can get the disc drive later, kind of thing. But that's what I have. I have a digital with the disc drive, but easily. I would, if I was going to get one of the newer consoles, which I did, it would be Sony. Like, there's no reason to buy Microsoft because, Game Pass and all that. Switch Lite was okay. I would say it's below the Switch because you can't dock it. Steam Deck I haven't get, but I want to get. I would say it's probably, in the top A's. Trying to see, never had the second version of the SNES, but I always put me off on it, so I would say SC, because every time I saw it, I was like, that looks so weird. Game Boy Advance Micro, I've seen those. I've actually played one before. I would never get it. Played on an N-Gage. It's poopy. I love how they have computer on here. I wouldn't consider a computer a console, but easy S tier. I mean, if you're gaming on a computer, easy S tier. And then we're missing a console, aren't we? the Switch 2, of course. And from what I've seen, actually I have one, but from what I've seen, I would say right now, it'd be a high A. I wouldn't probably put it in S. Yeah, there's the Switch 2. Is there any other ones? Guess not. No. So there it is. Those are my rankings. Remember, it's just my opinion. But yeah, no. What I think. Love to hear your guys' opinion, so you can leave it in the comments. And like I said, right now I'm doing Dark Souls 3, and it's gonna take forever. It's like 3 playthroughs to 100% it, and then I'm gonna eventually make a video talking about why you shouldn't 100% all of them, because it's AIDS. But I'd go in more detail. Basically explaining going through certain trophies and stuff, so yeah, it'll be that. That's probably in like a month at the latest. But yeah, that's a small update and doing a list. So hopefully y'all have a great day, and I'll catch you all later.